almost 17 years. And I've known Tom for about 8 of those years. And we've worked together on this NIC over those 8 years. And we've seen, all kinds of excitement over the times. And there's just, Tom is such an exceptional guy. He's so really caring about our industries and our partners. He's so focused on relationships and just really a good leader for our team here. So I'm just, I know I have kind of a resume here, but I have a firsthand account working with Tom, and he's an exceptional guy to work with. And I know he's a really good guy for our infrastructure community. So Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you here and take it from here.
Kind words, Charles. I want to mention too that it's a great joy to work with the planning committee that puts this together. I especially want to thank FHWA and NDOT, all the various consulting engineers that work with us to put this program together every year, and industry associations like ours and the one that Charles is with. And we have a lot in store that I think you're going to be very pleased by it with the conference this year. We're especially excited about the program. This morning is going to be very dynamic. We are very excited to be hearing from a U.S. Senator from Nevada. We're going to be hearing from the director of NDOT, from the CEO of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. We'll take a break after hearing about the I-15 Tropicana interchange in Las Vegas. And after that break, don't want to miss the updates coming for Northern Nevada, which will happen after that. And we also really encourage you to take advantage of this platform. I know many of us have gotten kind of numb to the fact that we're staring at our screens a lot and having a hard time networking. I really, truly hope this is an opportunity where you can connect to colleagues that you know and make some new connections. I know that happened with me yesterday, and it was kind of fun. But we're trying something new here to get things started this morning. We have the privilege of introducing a video from Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. And after seeing that, I'll introduce the NDOT Director, Kristina Swallow. So let's watch that video and welcome everyone.
Welcome to the first ever virtual Nevada Infrastructure Concrete Conference.
Well, welcome back. And again, I'm very grateful for that opportunity to hear from our senator. Next, I would like to introduce NDOT Director Kristina Swallow. She's got an amazing, very complete and thorough bio. And there's a few things that in reading it, I wanted to just touch on because they really felt like they punctuated some of the remarkable things about our director at NDOT. She was appointed by the governor in 2019. And as the director of NDOT, she's responsible for overseeing approximately 1,800 people. I didn't realize that number was so high, but she joins NDOT with more than 25 years of experience in engineering, public policy, community advocacy, and she's a practicing civil engineer who has the distinct accomplishment of being the president of the ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers, in 2018. That's a tremendous accomplishment. And before moving any further, I just want to mention too, in her bio, it mentions something that I think is really exciting, is that she strongly believes the key to successful transportation systems lies in having a good plan. And we're going to hear a little bit about that this morning, what she sees coming, what that plan looks like moving into the future. And with that, I just want to say we're delighted to hear from Director Swallow, and thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning. Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties, not realizing what I needed to do versus what was being done for me. I think we all struggle with that right now. And during the COVID times, even 8 months in, these virtual meetings are still, every time there's a new platform, we're learning, and even without new platforms. So good morning. It's so great to be here with you today, even if we can't be in person. the fact that we were able to convene virtually and perhaps engage with even more people because of the virtual environment without having to require people to travel. Hopefully we're getting to engage more people. I am so thankful to have been able to see the senator's message. Indeed, Senator Cortez Masto and our entire delegation are critical in helping us develop and deliver our program. And in fact, this past year, they were instrumental in not just a $23 million build grant, but also the $50 million infra grant that we received to help with the construction of the Tropicana Bridge project. So very thankful for our delegation and thankful for her message this morning. So again, it's good to be here with you this morning, even if it is virtually. And the one thing that I am thankful for is that we are able to continue to convene like this. Hopefully this conference will remain constant, just like concrete has throughout time. And we're going to get to hear throughout the conference about some amazing projects that have been completed or will be completed because of our ability to incorporate concrete into our designs. We're also going to hear from some awesome, talented, dedicated team members from NDOT and across our community. I'm excited to see the presentations by Jeff LaRude and Seth Daniels, two of our NDOT team members, and they're going to be sharing a little bit about our projects today. I also did want to recognize the teams that make these projects happen. These projects don't just happen by one or two individuals. They are broad teams, and we create families. I was Facebook the other night and I saw one of my friends. She actually created a recipe, a cookbook out of all of with contributions from the people who had contributed to a project because they had worked so long on it together. They had actually created a little bit of a project family. So I wanted to recognize all of the folks that are involved and engaged today. So the various experts that we're going to have that are going to be doing presentations, our design engineers, the construction teams. Quality assurance is so critical when we're working with any of our materials and delivering our projects. The consultants, all of the public works agencies and their representatives, architects, and really any of you that have helped come together to bring our projects to life. Welcome to the conference, and thank you for what you're doing to help us. Oh, and I almost forgot our contractors. Yeah, we couldn't, all of the designing, all of the great planning wouldn't be able to deliver much at all if we didn't have our contractors. So also thank you and welcome to our contractors. I've seen a couple of virtual faces. I've seen some virtual chats this morning, but I haven't been able to really walk the room and see everyone who is here today. So I hope that I'll be able to engage with some of you at the round tables in the in-between sessions. Really a great way for us to jump in together, have a small group conversation, and network kind of like we did before, even if it's a little bit different. And I also hope that every one of us and each of you, that we learned something during this conference and that we're able to use what we learned to help continue to advance our industry and our profession and really achieve our goals together. So we all know concrete is an essential construction material for our industry. It's required to build our bridges, to complete our hydraulics facilities, our pavements, and really all of the structures that help sustain our communities. It's economical, it's enduring, and often it is the perfect material for the job at hand. It's building blocks, strong, reliable, and durable infrastructure, and it's part of our sustainability plan. We are continuing to look for ways to speed up construction and minimize traffic impact, and oftentimes we are able to do that because of the use of concrete in our construction materials. But as we do that, we're also looking at ways to increase the durability of concrete, reduce the greenhouse gas emissions of concrete using supplemental cementitious material, and to make concrete more sustainable as we use it more throughout our state and really work to achieve our statewide greenhouse gas emission goals. So it is a critical part of our plan and our process. I should note that concrete is one of the reasons why Nevada has the best bridges in the nation. This year, we're sharing the top spot with Texas. Last year, we just missed out on the #1 spot in 2019. Texas had us beat. But for the 5 years previous to that, we were the nation's best. And this year, we're sharing that with Texas. And it makes me really proud to be in a state where our bridges are in such great condition. In fact, only 1.3% of our bridges, and we have over 2,000, were structurally deficient in 2019. The national average is 7.5%. So we are far below that average. And that means we can better serve our communities. And we often talk about whether or not a bridge is that means and how that matters. And to me, what it means is that we're serving our community. We don't have to worry about load rating a bridge or creating detours or ultimately closing bridges. We're able to meet the needs of our community throughout the state. Our ongoing focus is to keep everyone safe and connected on Nevada's roads and bridges, and concrete is truly part of that path. So we have some projects coming up that you might be interested to hear about. Major interstate renovations all across Nevada, including in the Reno area and the Las Vegas area. And of course, they'll all use concrete. So starting up north, the Reno Spaghetti Bowl, we, over the next 2 decades, we will construct higher speed direct connect Spaghetti Bowl ramps, add additional interstate lanes in certain areas, reduce merging and weaving at various on and off ramps, interstate shoulder and landscape aesthetics and other enhancements, and really deliver a far better interchange for the Reno and Sparks communities. This year, we launched the first phase of the decades-long improvement known as the Spaghetti Bowl Express. And with SBX, we'll be removing the cracking Interstate 580 concrete pavement and replacing it with new roadway base and concrete surface. And we'll also be widening the I-80 East to I-580 South ramp bridge and doing some additional work to help minimize the weaving and create a safer passage through that part of the corridor. In another Reno area project, the North Valleys project, this year, we will also begin, we began the widening project along US 95 and to Reno's North Valleys. Phase 1A actually just wrapped up last month, and it was the replacement of the aging and structurally deficient Boulevard Bridge over 395. The previous 48-year-old Par Dandini Bridge over 395 was removed in June. And since that time, the crews worked really hard to construct the new modern bridge and take advantage of the lower traffic that we saw early during the pandemic on 395. The new bridge is longer and wider at 56 feet wide compared to the previous 50-foot wide bridge. It meets more robust and current seismic design standards compared to the old structure. And it's the critical first step in our phased widening of 395 in the North Valleys. The next step of that process will be in 2023, we'll widen US 395 southbound to 3 lanes between McCarran and Golden Valley. Both directions of freeway will also be repaved and additional designated merge lanes constructed between each ramp. There will be approximately 95,000 linear feet of new concrete barrier rail, about 15,000 linear feet of new sound walls, and 20,000 linear feet of new retaining walls. That stretch of 395 will also be repaved, and we'll be adding a braided freeway ramp along northbound 395 between the Panther Valley on-ramp and the Golden Valley Road, again, to help limit the congestion that happens wherever we have weeds and reduce the potential for crashes. I-15, so now coming down to the southern part of the state, I-15 and Clark County 215, the 215 Beltway interchange is underway. So new concrete bridges and pavements on the direct connect ramps will upgrade the interchange at I-15 and the 215 Beltway in the city of North Las Vegas. This project is already underway. We released it, I believe, earlier this year. So if you've driven out I-15 north of town, you've likely seen the construction already started. It's a $99 million project, and work is already progressing on the flyover ramps, a new off-ramp, and the structures along with utility and lighting work. The project improvements include extending Tropical Parkway to Centennial Parkway, replacing Range Road as an east-west surface connection, and a new eastbound 215 Beltway off-ramp to the new Centennial Parkway and Range Road intersections. The work is expected to last through 2022, and it will really it'll be a great improvement for that intersection and interchange, as it'll reduce some of the stop and go that we've had to do for the years in the past. So I'm excited to see that project delivered. The next project, I am not going to spoil it all, is I-15 Tropicana interchange reconstruction. Very excited about this one. We just announced the short list of design builder teams. And later today, I think actually right after me, Jeff LaRude, our NDOT, my notes say our NDOT project manager, but he is our new assistant director of engineering. We're very excited to welcome him to our executive leadership team. So he'll be passing the project on to a new project manager, but right now he's the most up to date and he's the expert on the project. So he'll be sharing with you a little bit more about this project after my remarks conclude. US 95 Northwest, Phase 3C. So we recently debuted, it was a couple months back in the summer, the state's second longest bridge as part of the construction of the new system-to-system interchange at the Beltway and 95 in the Northwest Valley. The 2,635-foot long flyover connects US 95 north with the westbound 215 in Northwest Las Vegas. In case you were wondering what the longest bridge is, it is the 1.6 mile long 515 viaduct between I-15 and Eastern in downtown Las Vegas. So this is the second longest bridge. It just opened earlier this summer. The 75-foot tall 2-lane concrete structure is the equivalent of 7 football fields laid end to end, and it enables direct freeway-to-freeway travel for greater efficiency and safety. If you've driven through the Centennial Bowl at any time, you know you had to get off, do a stop, there was a signal, and then you could finally go westbound. Now it's a direct connect ramp from northbound to westbound. We recently awarded Phase 3D, and that construction will be the final phase of construction on the Centennial Bowl. It'll begin in January of next year and extend a few years after that. You may have actually even heard on the news this morning that we're delaying the completion of Phase 3C because we weren't able, the southbound 95 south to east 215, that bridge will be under some of the future construction. And so we're delaying the completion of that just to allow Phase 3D to advance a little bit further, minimize the construction conflicts between those two projects. All right. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about funding and revenue. As you know, our state has been growing like it's its job, right? We've been growing so rapidly for decades. And so is our transportation system. Lane mile growth for all roads, not just NDOT roads in the state, grew by 42% in 10 years, from 72,000 lane miles in 2008 to over 100,000 in 2018. Our system at NDOT didn't grow as significantly, but we added 800 miles since 2011. So in the last 9 years, we've added 800 lane miles to our 14,000. As of 2018, even though NDOT only controls about 14% of our roads, we have actually over 50% of the vehicle miles traveled annually on those roads. Pretty much if you're driving, you're probably accessing one of our system roads at some point during your drive. Now, unfortunately, not only has the COVID pandemic impacted our ability to convene together face-to-face, it also has had an impact on traffic volumes and therefore the gas tax revenue. So initially, we were really concerned about the impact to our highway fund as the volumes in March and April dropped as much as on some corridors as high as 80% on some of our corridors. Fortunately, that wasn't all of our corridors. Other corridors were impacted less severely. And quickly, as we started navigating the pandemic, so May, June, and moving forward, we've seen traffic recover. Now, it is important to note that as the COVID numbers have started to climb again, traffic has also started to fall off. So it is something that we're managing and watching and trying to make sure that we're being conservative about how we deliver our program that's already fiscally constrained. So fiscal year 2020, the impact, we actually ended up deferring some projects in June to help mitigate the impact. And at this time, we're anticipating fiscal years 2022 and 2023 will have a reduction in in the annual budget of about $32 million a year, or about 6% lower than fiscal year 19 levels. And that's important to note that it's below 19 levels because generally our revenue, while not keeping pace with traffic or assets, our revenue does generally tend to increase. So we're actually looking back to cuts from fiscal year 19 levels simply because of the pandemic. And we're trying to make sure that we manage our program efficiently, and concrete might be part of that solution. So we're excited to have you join us at the conference in the next couple of days. I truly hope that you will be able to learn something that will help us advance our program or advance your program, even if you're not in the transportation space. We know concrete is an essential building material for all infrastructure. So hopefully you'll learn something that you'll be able to take back to your work and help improve our communities and help make sure that Nevada stays as a top tier state when it comes to our infrastructure. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to turn it back, I think, to Tom.
Thank you, Kristina, for that wonderful presentation. I was really encouraged by how thorough you were in describing those upcoming projects. And as you mentioned, I'm particularly very excited to hear from Jeff LaRude later this morning on the I-15 project. And then we're hearing about the Spaghetti Bowl Express project again this year, but from a contractor's perspective, which would be pretty exciting and different. So again, thank you so much. I don't see any questions in the Q&A portion here, but I guess anyone, if we have a minute, they could do that. And the next thing on our agenda will be hearing from Nathan, who will introduce our next speaker. So thanks again, Kristina. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.